Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Monday edition of the Computer America Show. Hope all of you had a great weekend. We got a really interesting show planned for you tonight. In the second hour, we're going to have Kerio Technologies.
1 minute until showtime.
We're talking about collaboration and communication, and the product was called SamePage. And the first hour, though, we're going to talk about something that a lot of us really want to get into more. 3D printing. New Matter is here with us, talking about their New Matter Mod T 3D printer that's perfect for the home. And we have the company's CEO and co-founder on the show, Steve Schell, with us. So sit back, relax, enjoy the program. We'll be starting in about a minute.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Grossman. For Craig's weekly column in his favorite newspaper, this show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Grossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
Okay, Ben. Well, another week we begin. Yeah, exactly. Mondays. I don't know. Do we like Mondays as much as we like Fridays? Probably not. But we have to be enthusiastic, and we got a great lineup for you this week. For those of you who got our weekly email newsletter, the show reminder, you know who's going to be on the show. We're going to have our all Linux show this week as well. Marcel Gagne is going to be joining us with some interesting topics. He's an interesting guy. He kind of does the show with a glass of wine in hand and sits back and has a good time. So we always enjoy having Marcel on the program.
We should probably encourage more of our correspondents and even more of our guests to come on with a glass of wine. I think it makes the whole show go by a bit smoother.
Yeah, a little bit smoother. At least it tastes better. Now, if you have a comment or a question for our guest tonight, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call, 347-884-8881. 347-884-8881. That'll get you on and get you through. Email live, L-I-V-E, at computeramerica.com. If you're radio shy, you have a question for a guest, that's a great way to get your question in. You can also join us in a live, interactive chat room. From our homepage at computeramerica.com, just click the button there where it says Interact with the Show. The button says Chat and Live Video. Just click that, and you'll get a split screen in front of you. On the left-hand side, there's the chat room form. You can just put a username in there. That's the name you'll be known by when you go into the chat room. Click the Connect button, and your browser will move you into the chat room. It's just that simple. We'd love to see you in there. We have a lot of regulars and irregulars in the chat room, and we'd love to see you join us. The other thing is that when you go to that page, our live Computer America video streaming page will start automatically. It begins automatically. And you can see all of that because not only can you listen to the show, but you can watch the Computer America program. You can see myself, you can see Ben. Most of the times you can see the guests, or we can have live demonstrations of products. It's always fun to watch it on the live video streaming page. So all of that is available, again, at computeramerica.com. Again, hope all of you had a wonderful weekend. Ben, anything you want to talk about or mention before we bring our first guest on the show?
Hope everyone had a lovely Valentine's Day. You fell into Hallmark's grand plan and bought lots and lots of cards and chocolate and teddy bears.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, good. Well, let's do it. We mentioned 3D printing, and evidently, according to our guest tonight, 3D printing is now for everyone. New Matter is our guest tonight, and New Matter's Mod T 3D printer and the New Matter store combine to create an affordable, one-click printing ecosystem that beginners or enthusiasts will love. Now, here to explain how it works is the CEO of New Matter, Steve Schell. Steve, welcome into Computer America. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Craig and Ben.
Our pleasure. So, just a little background here before we get into the actual printer itself. Can you tell us a little bit about when New Matter started as a company and a little bit of the company background? Because I have to be quite honest, I had not heard of New Matter before when it was presented to me by our booking goddess, Carissa Screen. So, tell us a little bit about the company.
Sure thing. So New Matter is a relatively young company. It makes sense that you haven't heard of us before. I founded the company with my co-founder Bill Gross just over 1 year ago. It was actually last January. That's following about 6 or 9 months of doing R&D work kind of on the side before we really dove in to start the company. We did start out within an incubator here in Pasadena called Idea Lab just about 1 year ago, as I mentioned.
Okay. From small.
Congratulations, by the way, on making it the year. Not a lot of companies do that.
From small beginning. I mean, that's how Epson started.
Thank you. No, it's. I'm sorry.
I'm saying, Epson probably started the same way. It was just, a couple of guys that, and just kind of, hey, let's start a printer company, but no, so it's a little over a year, and evidently it looks like you just announced your Series A funding. So, tell us a little bit who your major investors are.
Sure. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so 2014 was really a fantastic first year for New Matter. We brought in a little bit of seed money early last year to develop the product with, and really launched the Mod T throughout last summer on a crowdfunding campaign actually. And with the success of that, after raising about $683,000 through our Indiegogo campaign and taking about 2,500 units worth of pre-order. I was able to go throughout the fall and winter this year, raise a Series A funding of about $6.5 million to really help the company grow and expand. That round has been led by Alsop Louis Partners, and then there's a host of other great venture capital firms and investors participating with them as well. First Round Capital, Idea Lab, of course, and the design firm Frog is actually investing in startups through their Frog Ventures program.
So let me ask you this. There are a number of 3D printers. I know we've had a couple of them on the show in the past, and whoa, what happened? I think we just lost Steve. He just dropped off for some reason. Not sure what happened there. So I can just dial him back again here. Let me just get him back.
Okay.
Yeah.
The joys of live radio.
Yeah. What happened there? Steve, you there? Yeah.
Steve.
What happened? we lost you.
I'm not sure. I lost you guys. Thanks for calling back.
Oh yeah, no, we'll do that immediately. So here was my question. So we heard everything that you said, but I started asking a question when you dropped off. There are a lot of 3D printers out there, and a lot of them are industrial, but there are a lot of them coming around that are for consumers. We've had a couple of them on the show not too long ago, and I guess my question to you is, why you mentioned some of the investors. What was it about your printer that attracted these people? I mean, what is yours offering more than what the other ones seem to be? Tell us a little bit about what you had to offer. These
yeah, there's several things about the Mod T and the whole New Matter ecosystem that are a little bit different than what you can find already in the consumer 3D printing market. So overall, we've approached every piece of our product development exercise like a consumer product should be. So we didn't take an industrial machine and then just try to make it smaller and less expensive to turn it into a consumer machine. Instead, we really started with a blank slate, thinking about what would a consumer want in a 3D printing system, and we've designed to that end. So most notably, the price point is very low. We'll be retailing later this year at below $400, so it's a very affordable 3D printer. Number two, we designed it to look elegant and look like something that you want to have in your home, not like an industrial machine, again, that you might, maybe it belongs in the garage, but you wouldn't want your friends seeing it when they came over to the house. And third, we've designed it to be extremely easy to use, recognizing that There are definitely enthusiasts and hobbyists out there that are great 3D designers and can use CAD software or some of the other 3D design software available to create these objects. But there's also a huge number of people out there who are interested in 3D printing that don't have the skills to create those 3D designs themselves. To that end, we created the New Matter Store, which is an online design exchange where the talented designers and artists that are out there can upload their designs to the store. They can offer them for free or for a price if they prefer. And the ModT users can find a design they like, and with one click, hit print, and over the Wi-Fi connection into the ModT, that design will go straight to their printer and start printing.
Okay, so basically, what they're actually selling or offering for free, depending upon what the design, the files, the information, that's what they're selling is the files, the printer files that make the printer do or create the image that what they're looking at.
That's correct. The actual 3D design.
Right now. When you buy something, let's say it's a piece of jewelry, that you're going to 3D print, and I understand. And my understanding is that when you buy it, you can actually customize it. You don't have to print it exactly as it is initially presented. I mean, you might want to change the color slightly, or you might want to modify the size. I'm assuming these are some of the things that you can do, once you do that, do you own? I mean, do you own the file? I mean, can you print this thing over and over again, or is it just you buy it once and you use it once, and then you have to buy it again if you want to make a second one? Tell us a little bit about the process there.
Sure. So the default model in our store is that you buy it once and you can print it multiple times. We know that you may print it once and then decide, you know what, the size wasn't quite right. I want to make it just a little bit bigger and print it again. So we don't do a pay-per-print model with the New Matter Store. So you pay for that design once and you can print it repeatedly. We will have some customization capabilities, as you pointed out. We can scale things. We can reorient things. You could emboss text. So say you're purchasing a trophy as the design from the store, and you want to put your name across the base of the trophy. You can do things like that as well. And over time, we're going to continue adding more and more of the customization capabilities to that software platform.
Now, when you download this, is there an application that comes along with the ModT? Is that that comes with it? And is it a computer application? Is it a tablet application? What is it? What you get with ModT?
Yeah, so the primary interface to the ModT is actually through a browser-based application. The ModT has a Wi-Fi connection on board. So from any browser, whether you're in the same building on the same Wi-Fi network or elsewhere, you'll be able to log into your account on the New Matter Store and send print jobs to the ModT from there. So any of this customization, all the shopping for designs, or uploading designs of your own, if you are a 3D designer, you can always create your own and upload them into that account, then send them right off to the ModT over that Wi-Fi connection. So there's no need to download files, save them to your hard drive, open them up in some other application, change a bunch of settings and send it off like what you would see in most 3D printing software applications. In our case, it's all done through the New Matter Store and sent directly over that Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, I think that's the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, but I think it's the first time I've actually heard of a 3D printer working with that model. In other words, using Wi-Fi, so it's not even physically connected to your computer. You can send files remotely. Ben? Would you agree?
Yeah, no, it seems like most printers just have a computer hooked directly up to them, and then through sophisticated software, it it seems like it was just another computer that you had to connect a computer to, and then it would 3D print. Although what you're outlining here sounds like your traditional printer, which nowadays are all online on a network and that kind of thing, and you just send it over and print it. So you guys sound a little bit more ahead of the curve than some of the other ones, which makes sense because this technology is ever growing.
Yep, exactly. It's
well, and that is exactly what we're aiming for. Really looking to make 3D printing behave more like the other, head-of-class consumer electronics that people are buying in the year 2015.
And it sounds like you're well on your way to do that. Now, is the ModT available yet, or it's going to be available? What's the status of the printer right now?
Sure. So we're in the process of bringing our production line online as we speak. I was actually over in China about a week and a half ago, monitoring progress there and seeing some of the first parts off the production line that are looking very good so far. So we will be fulfilling the pre-orders that we took through last year's crowdfunding campaign during the summer this year. and we'll be rolling the product out into e-commerce and retail markets directly after that. So probably around September is when we would be shipping in retail.
When you say in retail, will people order this at your website? Will they see this in stores? Will they go into their local, Best Buy or something and buy them? What's the plan?
Well, I can guarantee you it'll be available at newmatter.com, so definitely go there. And if you're interested, you can always drop your email address in our list, and you'll be the first to find out when it is up for sale. But of course, in addition to that, we're talking to a number of retailers, both brick and mortar as well as e-commerce retailers as well. Nothing firm enough that I can announce it at this point, but so far we're getting a lot of interest from people, and I'm optimistic that this really is a market that's going to be growing significantly in the next few years.
Yeah, I actually watched the video. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ben.
No, you mentioned that you had raised funding through Indiegogo, and I assume you were giving away to supporters early products. Have those shipped out yet, or are those going to be some of the first waves that go out in September?
Well, the very earliest supporters, we will have some beta customers from that Indiegogo campaign. Those will come out significantly earlier than September, but they're not out yet. They'll probably be coming out around June or July this year.
Okay.
Now, as I mentioned, I watched the video to get an idea of how this works, and you're correct. I mean, it's very visually pleasing to look at. This is not something that you're going to have sequestered away in a garage somewhere, or it looks like something you could actually have out on the desk, or where people can actually watch this. It's nice to look at. The shell over it, it's clear, it's transparent. You mentioned briefly that, man. Who did the design of the printer itself?
Yeah, the industrial design of the printer, as well as some of the user interface on the New Matter store, were designed in partnership with Frog Design. Early on, after founding New Matter, I recognized that as an engineer by trade, I'm not the best one to be doing aesthetic and visual design of things. If I designed it, it would definitely look like an engineer designed it. So I thought it was really important to partner with one of the best design firms in the world, and Frog has been a fantastic partner and investor in the company. So they did the industrial design, as I mentioned, as well as a lot of the user interaction design. And what we were looking for, in these early discussions we were having around industrial design of what should the look and feel be for a consumer 3D printer, we kept coming back to the fact that 3D printing is kind of like magic. You're creating something out of nothing, and for most consumers today, it'll be their first experience with a 3D printer when they see the Mod T. So we didn't want to hide that magic from the user. We really wanted to expose it as much as possible so you could see the magic happening, and really just use the printer as a way to frame that object being created, because at the end of the day, it's really about the output. It's about that object, not about the printer itself. So thus the minimalist design, the very transparent enclosure, to really highlight what's going on the inside rather than drawing your attention to the printer itself.
Yeah, and I know that Frog has done some very interesting design work for a lot of companies. Off the top of my head, I can't remember some of the companies, but I know they've been around for a long time and are really do a heck of a job. When you say they were an investor, did they invested their time and effort to design this? Is that what you mean by investor? Or did they actually invest money in the printer as well?
Yeah, so through their Frog Ventures program, which is just over a year old as well, I think we were in the first batch of investments that they made through that program last year. They'll actually do their design services, and they'll offer them in a combination cash and equity basis, right?
Okay. All right.
So if there's an account that a job with Frog, a design exercise that I'm going to have them do that would normally cost me X dollars, I may be able to take a fraction of X as an investment in the company, and then the rest as cash.
I understand. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the method. Different 3D printers use different methods, and they use different mediums to print in. I know some use sugar to print candy. Others use different types of plastics. What kind of method is the Mod T using to do what it's going to do?
The Mod T is depositing a thermoplastic material through a heated nozzle. So this is a lot like what you would see in a MakerBot or a Solidoodle or some of the other well-known consumer-facing 3D printers. The plastic that we use is called PLA, polylactic acid. It's a fairly commonly used plastic for 3D printing applications. It's a fairly nice choice, in my opinion, for a consumer product, in particular because it prints at relatively low temperatures, and it doesn't give off any kind of nasty fumes. Some of the other materials, some of the other plastics that can be printed with tend to give off odors that smell of burning plastic. And again, coming back to this idea that we wanted to make it consumer friendly, I thought it was important to have a build process that wasn't going to create any kind of noxious odors.
Right. And what colors are going to be available for this? And do you print? Does it print in a mono color, or can you?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yep, it is a single color printing. So whatever color filament, the plastic material comes on a spool of thread, like almost like a weed whacker line, a thick thread.
Yeah.
We call that filament. And the filament will be sold in a variety of different colors. So New Matter will, of course, sell filament of our own, and we'll be offering it in around 10 different colors. You know, everything from white and black, of course, to the whole rainbow, red, purple, gold, etc. The filament's also available from a number of other retailers. It's not a proprietary kind of cartridge that we use. So if you have a brand of filament you like that's made by somebody else, or a particular color that you like that we don't offer, you can always use that with the Mod T. But it does print in that single color. You can always, of course, paint the product after it's done. If you need something that needs multiple colors, the plastic does take paint fairly well, so that's certainly not a problem.
So if I use somebody else's plastic, it's not going to void the warranty of the printer?
No, we're not planning to make that void the warranty. That's one of the things. We'll definitely see what happens and how many warranty claims we have from low-quality filament. It is a concern. I think it's something people need to be aware of when they're buying kind of a generic or a very low-cost brand filament. Some of them are of lower quality. They have inclusions and things that can cause your nozzle to clog. So it's best to get filament from a reputable source. But at this time, we're not assuming that's going to void the warranty.
That sounds just like traditional printers. You get low-quality ink, and they can mess up the heads.
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
I didn't realize there was low-quality filament out there. I just figured it was all the same thing. So, Steve, but you're saying that all filament is not created equal, huh?
No, there's all kinds of things that can vary with the filament. Subtle things like the actual thickness of the thread can vary. Of course, there's going to be some tolerance there. The quality of the plastic itself, it's not a completely pure resin, so there's always additives to make it either more elastic or change the thermal behavior and things like this. And depending on where you get that stuff, it's always going to have a slightly different recipe to it, and some's going to print well and some won't.
But you're going to offer about how many colors you think initially?
Right out of the gate, we'll probably have about 10 different colors, and then we'll, of course, be listening to our customers to see what colors they would like to see that aren't being offered, and we can always co-develop those with the supplier where we get the filament.
Or until other colors become available, are you going to at least possibly make a suggestion that you might of a filament that is that you recommend, or say that we authorize, or this is good filament as opposed to bad? I mean, have you thought about doing something like that? Oh, we just lost Steve again. What is going on?
Someone has some chubby fingers.
I don't know. Okay, we'll get him back on again. Yeah, call him back again. I don't know what's going on.
Hello,
Steve.
I'm back.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway, it's the first time that's ever happened with us. But anyway, getting back to it, my question to you, I don't know how much you heard, is if you offer 10 colors, but will you offer maybe a listing or of sources that people can use to get other colors that you authorize, or say that this is okay, that this film is good and you can use it? Have you thought about doing something like that?
That's an interesting suggestion. I think I'll definitely take it into consideration. We do intend, in addition to different colors, there are also some different materials. And I know that while we're designing the Mod T to print with PLA, there's going to be some of our customers who started experimenting with printing other materials as well. And so, keeping kind of a knowledge base online for our customers of what things people have done successfully and what things haven't worked out so well, we'll be looking to provide people with as much information as possible. So I think adding different colors and the sources where people found them would be a very reasonable thing to do.
There you go. All right. So let's just talk a little bit more now. One of the things that a lot of the 3D printers do, and I understand that you're trying to keep this simple and easy, and you're obviously going to be doing a good job, But let's say if I there are these if I want to use something that's more I don't know sophisticated, or if I want to use, let's say, AutoCAD, or I want to use some of these 3D printing files that are floating around there, and I want to give them a try. I mean, can I work with the actual files, or are you going to allow people to work with the actual files to print these different designs, or can they only print what's available at the New Matter store?
Oh, certainly people can print their own designs, absolutely. So really any 3D CAD system today, they're essentially all, I mean, everything I'm aware of at least is capable of exporting what's called an STL file. That's kind of a standard file format that's used by 3D printing systems. So as long as you can get an STL file from whatever software you're working with, you'll be able to print it on the Mod T. So you'll simply upload that STL file into your account on the store, and you'll be able to print it from there. It's just, change whatever settings you need, orient the part, scale it if necessary, and then send it off to the Mod T that way.
All right, so you can get down under the hood. It sounds to me like you're going to allow people to do that if so needed.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. We don't want to limit people to only the designs that are available on the store. Those designs are really there for the more novice and introductory users to get them going. But I fully expect a lot of people, once they get the bug of 3D printing and really kind of take this on as a hobby, they're going to start venturing out and doing designs of their own. So of course we'll make that as easy as possible for people.
Right. Just give us an example of some of the projects that you can use a 3D printer for.
Well, I think a lot of people enjoy doing, decorative things around their home. They create, new cabinet poles, the handles for their cabinets in their kitchen. They'll do coat hooks to hang things on the wall. They'll do decorative kind of lampshades and things like that. I personally have 3 kids, and my kids absolutely love printing out toys. They print out parts for science fair projects at school, accessories to go with some of the toys that they already have. So, for example, my daughters have this enormous Barbie dollhouse, and of course it takes up too much space in their room, but she always needs new furniture. So, Barbie needs a new end table, and we'll print one of those out. Some of the other toys, one of the designers here on staff recently created a little rubber band powered car that you pull back and the rubber band stretches and you let it go and the car goes racing away. There's a lot of fun projects that people find ways to use their 3D printer. And one of the ways I find projects like this become most valuable actually is in an educational setting. So you can take a project like that rubber band powered car I just mentioned, take that into a classroom with, say, 4th or 5th graders, and now you're teaching them the computer skills to create the design or customize the design and send it off to the printer. You're teaching them a little bit about science, some physics and mechanics of how these gears are meshing together and the rubber band stretches and then it makes the car go. So you can really use 3D printing as a way to integrate some of these science and technology as well as art into a course curriculum, and I think there's a lot of value there as well.
What about printing things that might be that you might have or might not have? Let's, for example, could I use it to print, let's say, a Lego brick? Let's say I'm designing something in Legos and I need one and I don't have one, or I don't have the one in the right color, something. I mean, what's the resolution of the printer? Could I print out, let's say, a Lego part, just a little brick, and then plug it into my Legos? I mean, is that possible?
It's marginally possible. So the tolerances required to snap Legos together are actually incredibly tight. So that's kind of the bogey that we're always aiming for. But frankly, it's very, very challenging to make a 3D printed part snap to a Lego brick. What you can do, and what happens a lot in my son's part of the house, is you can actually create a 3D printed part that has a fairly loose fit to the Lego bricks, and then you can glue a standard Lego brick to that 3D printed part, and then that Lego brick will snap onto other Lego bricks. So you can kind of cheat a little bit that way and create whatever geometry you want, whatever design you want, and then it'll have a Lego brick glued to the base of it that can snap onto other things.
Now, you mentioned resolution. I mean, what kind of resolution do you get with the Mod T printer? What is the resolution?
Yeah, so in the vertical direction, so the Mod T prints in layers, of course, one layer at a time. So each layer we can go down to 100 micron layer thicknesses. So that's 10 layers per millimeter. So fairly fine resolution that way. Of course, if you don't want that resolution, you can always make it more coarse and it'll print faster.
Sure.
But that would be the finest resolution we can do.
Mm-hmm.
In the horizontal plane, it's a little less precise. It's limited by the nozzle that the plastic is being extruded through,
Mm-hmm.
And that's about a 0.5 millimeter. Okay, so about 500 microns would be the smallest bead of plastic we can lay down.
Still, that's a very fine resolution, and you can probably come up with a lot of detail or intricate patterns or details with that kind of resolution, I would think.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, once you get some practice with 3D printing and practice designing parts for 3D printers, knowing how to take advantage of this fact that you have different resolution vertically than horizontally and things like that. Once the designer has some practice using a 3D printer, they can come up with ways to really maximize the detail that they can get out of that machine, and it is quite fine. It can look very, very good.
All right, I got a few other questions I want to ask you, including 3D printing. I understand was really big at CES this year, and I don't know if you were out at CES, but certainly like to talk a little bit about that, and also some of the other products that you might be coming up with over at New Matter. But we're at a break now, so we'll be right back. This is the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, and on the Boost Radio Network. Ben and I are talking to Steve Schell. He is the CEO of New Matter. 347-884-8881 will get you on and get you through. We have a brand new News Tips Bulletin Review from Marty Winston coming up as well. Stay tuned for more Computer America. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No hair removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No hair removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PPA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Hey, has anybody told you that you're beautiful? Oh, it's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the first alert, Bark Genie. If you have a dog in your workspace and uncontrolled barking is a repeated distraction,
It is.
you understand why we got this in for review. The Bark Genie from First Alert is a mini Pavlov box that listens for barks and emits an ultrasonic beep when it hears one. With a 9-volt square battery for power, there's no outlet tether, and it's lightweight. Means it can go on a tabletop, a shelf, hang from a doorknob, or be wherever the barking tends to happen. A test mode responds with an audible beep. In its 3 operating modes, short, medium, and long range, the ultrasonic beep is something dogs can hear, but not you or me. Our test subject was a megalomaniacal male Jack Russell named Buddy. whose barking almost immediately calmed down but was not deterred when responding to bark-appropriate stimuli like people at the door. Bottom line, the First Alert Bark Genie could be worth a try if excess barking has been dogging your days. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America show with the dogs. It's 33 minutes past the hour. That was Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review. And we're actually talking to Steve Schell, and it's from New Matter, by the way, and we're talking all about the 3D printer and 3D printers in general as well, because one of the things that I was kind of curious about is that you're trying to make a 3D printer that is extremely simple for people to use, to create things with, that kind of thing, which is great. But the only thing is that at this point, 3D printers traditionally have been either hobbyist or in large-scale manufacturing. People really don't have access to a lot of, they don't have access to a lot of resources. Let's say New Matter breaks. I know it's not even out yet, and it hasn't even made it into the first hands yet. But let's say it breaks. How do you handle repairs? Because hobbyists, they'll say, okay, someone explain it to me, and I'll go in and I'll fix it myself. Manufacturing, they have mechanics and stuff like that that work on these things all the time. But from an end user person, like, are they going to have a storefront they can take it to? Do they ship it up or box it up and ship it out? How do you think you're going to handle repairs on this thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. Reliability is just incredibly important when it comes to a consumer product like this. So with the Mod T, there's really one component that is user replaceable on the machine. It's what's called the hot end. So it's the heated nozzle where the plastic is actually melted and extruded to create the part. So should there be a failure there, so you get something clogged in there so badly you just can't kind of unjam it, or the heating element goes bad, who knows, something up at the hot end, it fails, we will be able to send you a new part, and you can replace that with, a single nut kind of removes that part, and one electrical connection is very straightforward.
Wait,
beyond that, sorry, go ahead.
Are you saying that I can't 3D print a replacement part for the 3D printer, the Mod T?
Ironically enough, most of what could potentially fail is probably not a 3D printable part. Typically the failures usually occur in electronic components, honestly. That's where usually with a piece of consumer electronics like this, that's typically where you're going to see a failure. So if it is the hot end, we'll have no problem having that be user replaceable. But anywhere else, it would probably need to be returned to us, and we'll either refurbish it or send you a new one. One thing I'd point out, and again, I keep coming back to this idea that we've really designed the Mod T to be a consumer product right from the beginning. One of the things that's unique about our printer is the mechanism we use to create the two horizontal axes of motion. You mentioned you watched the video. You probably see that build platform moving left and right and forward to back. The unique mechanism that drives that motion requires very few parts. And anytime you're creating a motion system, this complicated electromechanical device, the fewer parts there are, the fewer failure modes there are. And so by reducing the part count, we not only save cost, but we're also improving the reliability of the machine as well. So we expect the Mod T to be a very reliable machine, but of course we will take care of our customers should something fail.
Have you ever thought that? I mean, I understand electronic components you can't, but maybe making some of the parts either in this one or in an upcoming one, if this breaks...
That's the beginning of the robots taking over, is when robots can make robots.
I mean, have you print the component, that is breaking? Although I guess if it's broken, then you couldn't really print it because your printer's broken. So, oh no, what is going on here?
Did Steve drop again?
Yeah, we just dropped him again. I'll call him back. I'm not sure what's going on. This is very bizarre. I'll have to contact Blog Talk Radio and find what's going on. Okay. That time it didn't. That didn't happen. Let's try him again. Maybe there's something wrong with the phone. I don't know. Yeah, we're not.
Hello
sure.
again, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's my system or yours. I apologize.
Yeah, no, we've never ever had that ever. So I'm not sure what that is. But anyway, I was talking about maybe an upcoming printer or print out some of the component that is printable. But then it dawned on me that you couldn't do that because if the printer's broken, that you can't print the part out to fix it, right?
Well, maybe you'll have to use a buddy's printer to print a spare part for yours.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's funny. I do fully expect people will actually print accessories and kind of you know, improvements if they want to soup up their printer. That, you know, that's the type of thing I think people will do. For sure. But again, we've designed it to be really low cost, meaning we're using high volume manufacturing techniques, you know, injection molding and stamping, things like that, that typically are a little bit different than how you would design it to be 3D printed. Yeah,
but you know, so tell us a little bit about CES this year. And we were out at CES. As a matter of fact, we had our own booth there. We were at the Showstoppers event. And I understand 3D printing was really big at CES. And you're right in the middle of it, so why don't you let us, how is 3D printing, you know, the industry changing, and what does it mean for new matter?
Yeah, it's been really exciting the last few years watching the 3D printing industry gain a lot of traction. There was actually an entire 3D printing section at CES this year, and you know, I didn't count the number of booths, but I think it's got to be 30 or 40 booths just in the 3D printing section. Everything from, you know, the big guys in the industry, the MakerBot and 3D Systems and those folks, down to the smaller companies like New Matter and a whole lot of others that are kind of young, up-and-coming companies like myself. So it was really encouraging and really exciting to see that much activity at CES in the 3D printing space. For New Matter specifically, it was a great show. We did have a booth. We had a couple of printers there printing, you know, all week long. We ran some contests to give away printers to people, or at least pre-orders for printers. They'll get theirs the same time we ship all the other pre-orders. We had a lot of interest from people, from media, of course, but also from retail buyers, from potential partners. I mean, you name it. There were a very, very positive reaction to the product and to the message. So it was exciting. It was a very good week for us.
Oh yeah, exactly. And it's too bad we didn't see you out there. Would have liked to, you know, had to come over to the booth and do a little bit. But hey, we got you now. And
well, next year we'll make that happen.
So.
Yeah, for sure. There are, and sorry we missed you, but let's face it, there's like 40 square. There's tons and tons of halls and tons of companies. Sometimes you miss some really cool stuff.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, but that's just the nature.
Yeah, it's incredible. So now I guess the one thing I'll throw out is that there were actually two opportunities to see New Matter at CES. You could have seen us either at our booth in the 3D printing section, or you actually could have seen a Mod T on display in the Innovation Showcase, because we were actually the 3D Printing Innovation Award honoree. So that was a huge honor for us as well. We had a unit on display, and you know, we've got our trophy sitting on my desk now and all that stuff.
Well, congratulations. And you didn't have to print that trophy either.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We didn't have to print it. Maybe I'll print out a stand to put the trophy on.
There you go. Exactly. Tell us a little bit about the price point. What are you aiming for? What's the price point going to be of the Mod T?
So we're going to retail it later this year for below $400. The filament material, that's usually the next question people ask, is what about the material and the designs in the store? So the material, the standard spool that we'll sell is 1 kilogram of material, and that's, you know, 2.2 pounds. It's a pretty large amount. So you could get, if you're printing average size objects that are, you know, roughly the size of a softball or so, you could probably get about 15 or 20 objects that size out of a spool, and that will likely retail, you know, around $39, something like that, later this year as well. And in terms of designs in the New Matter store, again, some of them are going to be free, but it's really up to the designer to set the price. My expectation is they'll be anywhere from, you know, free to $5 for the most part, depending on the design. But, you know, I'd love to see it if we had some, you know, big name artists come in, command a $20 design, a $100 design. Sure, that'd be great. Good for him. They're keeping the majority of that revenue anyway. So if they can get a design that's that valuable, that's fantastic. But I think most of them will be just a few dollars.
Do you think we might ever see these 3D printing becoming so popular that we might, you know, I mean, they might actually have these files available on iTunes? You know, go to iTunes and download printer files. You know,
I think that sort of thing is entirely possible. Of course, my hope is that the New Matter store becomes the iTunes for 3D printing files. Okay. But we'll see what happens.
Exactly. Well, tell me a little bit. I realize that the printer is not yet, but where do you see New Matter in the next 3 to 5 years? What's next for New Matter?
In every home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, number one, I think first I would love to see a really wide adoption of consumer 3D printing, not only into homes but into schools. Again, I know I've mentioned this before, and not to belabor the point, but I really think there's a huge opportunity to see children really adopt this technology and make it part of the way they do things, right? Part of the way they live their life, one of the tools in their toolbox, so to speak. There's so much creativity with the youth that as they grow up, by the time they're in their 20s and 30s, having lived with 3D printing throughout their childhood, it'll be just, second nature to them. So I'm excited to see that happen. I'd like New Matter to really be at the forefront of getting 3D printing into the educational market. Beyond that, I see us coming out with a number of products. Obviously, right now we're really focused on the Mod T and kind of just heads down, making sure that product is successful. The Mod T launch is smooth, and the New Matter store is bug-free when we launch, and there's a lot of great content there. But we also have a long list of ideas for what do we want to do next. What would be the big brother to the Mod T? What new features can we add? What new capabilities can we create? What new materials can we print with? So in the 3 to 5 year horizon, I really see a whole family of products ranging everything from the introductory model like the Mod T is today up to more sophisticated and capable machinery as well.
So what you think that the Mod T is going to be the base point that's going to be the least sophisticated in the line. As you expand your line, you're not going to have anything beneath the Mod T. The Mod T is going to be the baseline and then move up. Is that what you're feeling?
Yeah, that's my general expectation, is that the capabilities that we have with the Mod T kind of represent the entry-level printer. And over time, I think we'll be able to continue driving the cost down. It's
Sure.
going to be below $400 this year. But of course, we're working hard to squeeze every penny out of that design that we can. So over time, I think it'll become more affordable for that level of capability. And then we'll be able to add additional products with additional capabilities, maybe at a price point somewhere between $400 and $500, depending on what it is. So a slight increase. We're still not talking about a $1,000 machine, but a little bit more capability for a slightly higher price.
How far up do you want to go? I mean, what do you think is going to be your the most sophisticated printer that you're going to offer? Just kind of blue sky with me here.
Well, I guess it's a little bit hard to predict the future. I think right now, because we're so focused on the consumer market, I'm hesitant to do anything that's so sophisticated that it prices it out of reach for most consumers. Yeah. So that's why for me, I'd really like, I don't know, maybe $600 as an upper limit. But at the same time, I recognize we're a young company and it's a young industry, and it's so hard to say what the next 3 to 5 years are going to hold. So perhaps there's a model that's specifically for small businesses or educational markets, and it makes sense for that to be a little higher price because it has much greater capabilities. It really depends kind of where the market evolves, but right now we're just really, really super focused on that affordable price point. Like I said, sub 400 today, and definitely not going above about $600 to try to keep it within reach of most consumers.
Okay.
Yeah, Steve, every time we have a 3D printing company on, I always try to think of, and I really think you might have a better answer to this question. What is the turning point? What is the turning point going to be where people say, okay, I need a 3D printer, or I should have a 3D printer? Like with a toaster, you can say, oh, it makes toast. That's perfect. I need that in my house. A microwave, fridge, that kind of thing. Any other appliance, computer, obvious. But with a 3D printer, I feel like people right now don't really have a sense of what they can do and what good a 3D printer will do for them in their household. So what do you think is going to be the turning point where people look at it and say, oh man, it does that? I need that right now.
Sure, and that's a great question, and I think that the tipping point is going to be different for different people. Just like, for one person, the justification to buy a computer might be to keep in touch with their relatives through email and social media, and for another person it might be bookkeeping, right? So there's different applications that justify that home computer purchase. With a 3D printer, there are a huge number of people out there that like to express themselves artistically, and they do things like quilting and scrapbooking and woodworking and painting and pottery. And for these type of people, it's fairly easy to understand what you can do with a 3D printer, because now they have another medium in which they can work artistically. So that may be one justification, right? For somebody else, that may mean nothing, but for a lot of people, they're going to see that they can actually save money. They can print things that they would otherwise have to buy. And here I'm talking about, there's a handle on a crock pot that broke at my house, and my wife wants me to print the new one for her instead of buying a new lid for the crock pot. And my kid's science fair project, there was a piece that broke off of it last year, so I printed a new piece to attach to that thing for them. There's all these little things that I realize through owning a 3D printer at my home, I can print these things out instead of running to the store, whether it's a hardware store or Target or Walmart, whatever. I can print things instead of buying them, and so in the long run, I'm actually saving money through this 3D printing activity. So it's a very pragmatic use. So for different people, it's going to be a different justification, but I think that over time we'll start to see those occurring, and as you see your friend or a relative buy a 3D printer, you see what they're doing with it, suddenly you'll be able to see what you can do at your home as well, and that's where that mass adoption is really going to start to take off.
Fortress in the chat room says he wants to print forks for silverware. I guess. I don't know if that would be.
I think that's a great idea.
Hey, honey, I don't have enough forks. Would you print me up one or something? I guess. No, why not?
Well, one of the great things about 3D printing is that customization comes for free, right? When we mass produce things like the 3D printer, ironically enough, they all have to be identical because that's the cost-effective way to do it, right? So with the 3D printer, customization is completely free. So maybe not the silverware. I don't know if that would be sturdy enough to really be useful, but napkin rings are a great example. So you're throwing a dinner party, you can have a napkin ring for each guest with their name on it, right? Little things like that suddenly become very easy, whereas before that would be a very, very challenging thing to do.
Yeah, no, it makes it. Or maybe little place card holders with their name on it or something. Like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, the customer. Then they'll say, "Where did you buy this? And how did you get my name on it?" I said, "Well, I printed it." Exactly. Yeah. Well, listen, Steve. Really, it was interesting having you on the show, and I want to thank you so much for being here. And again, maybe we can have you back, and maybe we can actually do a live demo on our live video showing the Mod T up and running and kind of do a demo.
But there is, of course, the
really
video on
I appreciate you guys
website.
having me on. It was nice meeting you, Craig and Ben, and thank you so much for the chance to speak with you.
What did Ben? What did you say?
Oh no! First of all, thank you for joining us. And there's always the demonstration on the YouTube video that you guys have up on your website at newmatter.com, where it actually shows it printing. So until we get the actual live version, there's always the video out there showing you how it works and how it looks.
And also, you can go to the New Matter website just by going to computeramerica.com, go to our show notes page, and you'll see today's show, which is February the 16th. And we actually have a link to the New Matter website along where we said that Steve Schell is going to be on, the CEO of New Matter. And we have a link that you can actually see that for yourself on our show notes. Steve, again, thank you so much for being with us here tonight, and we look forward to having you back again, okay?
All right, I'd love it. Thank you so much.
Steve, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so there he goes. And that time we meant to drop.
Quick, get him back. He'll be confused.
Yeah. I mean, what's with the phones? That's strange. I've never, ever had that happen. So.
Well, luckily, our second hour guest is only another phone guest. So.
All right. Well, we still have time.
Yeah, we'll see if it continues.
Yeah, exactly. Don't encourage it. Technology gods. Do we want to?
I think it's Gremlins in the lines.
Could be. Do we want to do a couple of quick news stories? We have time to do it.
I have a couple that honestly I'm seething from. I have a couple.
All right. Well, let's do some computer news stories. Tonight's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. Ben?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was just sending an email off. Okay, so tonight's stories, as you said, we have a few good ones. And the one that really has me all riled up is there is a great series of novels called The Wheel of Time. Back in I think they originally started printing in 1989, maybe 91, way back when I was born. I was born in 91, and these things came out soon after. And I started reading them when I was 7 or 8 years old, and the last one just came out 2 years ago. I finished that one. I've been reading them for 12, 13 years. It was one of the best novel series that I've ever read, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised to hear that there was a late night pilot for a TV adaptation to the book series.
Really?
And when I say late night, it aired at like I want to say 1:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on one of Fox's like lesser shows, or I'm sorry, lesser channels. Like it
Okay.
was like FXX,
Okay.
so which is primarily devoted to comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And so like they made the pilot. Apparently, the whole thing was produced in like 4 days. I kid you not. Something that has millions of fans all over the world, has been printed in like 30 different languages, has sold, who has just been going on for about 25 years, and then the people over at Red Eagle Entertainment felt the need to produce a pilot within 4 days, and it had some of the worst CGI. It was just nowhere near the quality it should have been for such a great series.
Hmm. Well, sorry that it was disappointing.
Not only that, though, apparently, while Red Eagle does own uh, some of the digital rights, like I believe Red Eagle also released the Wheel of Time video game a while ago. It didn't really go anywhere. People said it was okay, but it was the late '90s and everyone was throwing out video games left and right. But apparently they own some of the digital rights. They did not even consult, because the author Robert Jordan actually died, I want to say about 3 or 4 years before the series actually ended. Like he had notes, but he was unfortunately not able to finish, so they hired another author. So his wife, who is actually they have a term here, but she's the CEO of the company, and she's like the person to go to if you want to do anything with Wheel of Time.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, she was not consulted in this at all. No one sent her a script. No one sent her publicist a script. No one even said anything to her.
Mm-mm.
So they pretty much just said, "Okay, we have the digital rights, so we're just going to throw out a crappy pilot and see how it goes." And needless to say, it went awfully. It was just pretty awful. And then here's the funny part: the wife of the author sent a letter out, pretty much saying, we had no knowledge of this, we did not approve anything, we did not know about this, and we were shocked that it aired on the channel that it aired on. Like she said, it was like on channel 700 and something, as in it was buried deep. And she's doing everything, and she actually says in the letter, we're doing everything we can to make sure this doesn't happen again, as in there will be no TV series. Guess what happened?
What happened?
The producers from Red Eagle Entertainment actually sued Robert Jordan's wife for defamation.
Oh, for God's sake.
The ones who put out the awful TV pilot then sued the wife of the author for saying that it was terrible. Yeah, that just happened. So this whole thing is just crazy. It's been going on for about a week, but I had not even heard about it until tonight. It's a pretty gross thing, but apparently there is a movie coming out that's currently being filmed that is an actual adaptation, with an actual script that is being reviewed by the publicist and everything. But this TV series came out of the blue. Some people liked it, a lot of people didn't, but it's just a pretty nasty piece of literature.
Was it called Wheel of Time?
It was actually titled Winter Dragon, which has nothing to do with the series. I know, I've read it multiple times. I don't even know what Winter Dragon is.
Well, okay. Well, I guess it'll all come out in the courts.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Hey, coming up in hour 2, we're going to have we're going to kind of shift gears here and go to Kerio company. You're going to get them on the phone, Ben, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of switch gears in this hour. In the first hour, we were talking pretty much about consumer products. In this hour, we're going to talk about this a company that lets you connect, communicate, and collaborate without compromise. They have they have flexible licensing packages, and it will run in hardware and software configurations to deliver enterprise-class functionality for a low total cost of ownership. And we're going to be talking to the company's CEO, Scott Schreiman, about Kerio. That's the name of the company. From time to time, we do things that are not quite consumer-oriented, and we're going to talk about contextual engagement and what that means, and how this kind of their same-page product is different from solutions like Dropbox or Trello and Slack. We'll talk a little bit about what this product actually does at the in the next hour. In the meantime, you listen to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. We're going to have another News Tips Bulletin review from Marty Winston. He's going to be joining us. I told you he's running out of ways of saying hello for each one, but
I know, and I said he could take the lazy way out and say, hey, there are 140 different languages on this planet. Start using some other ones. And he's like, no, that's lazy. I'm like, all right.
He's going to find new and novel ways to do it. But we always like what he has to say. Last week he had a book review. This one he's going to talk about the Cherry DW3000. The Cherry DW3000. Okay.
Can't wait to hear about it.
I like the first one though. I like Bark Genie. That controls the barking of your dog. He has a wide range of products that he talks about. Anyway, we're going to break just for a few moments, and then we're going to come back with Kerio here on the Computer America Show. Stay with us.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we continue on, again, thanks to New Matter and Steve Schell in the first hour, talking about their Mod T 3D printer. Very cool looking, and you really... you should head over to the newmatter.com website and check it out.
The price is also good. We really didn't talk much about it, but $400 for a 3D printer, that's one of the lowest I've ever heard of, because most of them fall into about the $800,000 range.
Yeah. So it's obviously affordable, and it also looks very, very nice. I mean, you could literally have this thing, on your kitchen cabinet counter or something. It just looks really nice. It's very minimalist, and he said it was designed by Frog, who does a lot of world-class industrial products.
What they do, but yeah. So apparently, it looks so good. You're going to take your big painted family portrait of you and the cat and everything, throw it away, and just put this right there on your mantle, because it's pretty.
It's going to look so much better. Exactly, and you can show it. All right. All right, so let's get to our next guest, our next guest basically wants you to connect, communicate, and collaborate without compromise. Okay, Kerio's award-winning products are tailored to the needs of small and mid-sized businesses. All combine powerful features with ease of use for business users and IT professionals. Kerio's attractive licensing packages and the flexibility to run on many hardware and software configurations deliver enterprise-class functionality for a low total cost of ownership. Now, here with us is Scott Schreiman. Scott is the CEO of Kerio Technology. Scott, welcome into Computer America. How are you, sir?
Great, Craig, Ben, thanks for having me tonight. And happy President's Day.
Yes, to you as well. Oh, that's why there was no mail today. Okay.
Yeah, no mail today.
I thought our postman was sloughing off. I guess that's not what it was. Okay.
I mean, they're lovely men, our former presidents, but the deals on mattresses is just so great. You have no time to really pay your respects.
And did you go shopping for new cars today?
No.
No, I didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
No, but we got a new mattress. So there.
Excellent. That's terrific.
And our dogs are lying comfortably on it now as we speak. All right. So anyhow, so tell us a little bit about. Now, normally what we do here is we do a lot of consumer products and everything.
Yes.
From time to time, we'll venture carefully into the world of enterprise and business to business. And so, why don't you tell us a little bit about the? I kind of had an introduction to it, but why don't you tell us a little bit about Kerio Technologies and what it's all about?
Okay, perfect. Actually, what I wanted to talk about tonight, I don't want to talk so much about the B2B side of our business on Kerio. What I wanted to talk to you guys about was our Same Page platform and how we're excited to expand that out beyond the B2B world into pretty much everybody, and how we can help more people get things done.
Okay.
So kind of the one minute overview of Kerio is we've been selling email servers to small and medium businesses for the last 17 years. We have like 60,000 customers around the world. And in a few years ago, we started to realize the problems with using email specifically for collaboration and getting things done. And so we developed this new product called Same Page. We think it's kind of a clever name, help everybody get on the same page.
Sure.
There you go. We think it's pretty clever. I don't know how everybody else feels about that.
Catchy.
But yeah, we built Same Page to address the issues that we found in using email to get things done. And when we realized that we couldn't fix email to do that, we built Same Page and to get everybody on the same page and so on. Yeah.
So why don't you tell us what Same Page does? What does it do?
Okay, so Same Page is what you do. What we figured out in people trying to get things done is if you use email and you see this, you try to get something done with a group of people, whether it's at work or in your personal life, you're trying to organize a club event or a Boy Scout meeting or hiking trip. You see all the emails going back and forth, and you know how like everybody responds and they put their comments in different places and so on in the emails. And what you get is kind of a mess. And so what we said is we need to think of the problem in a completely different way. You don't put files in Dropbox, or maybe they go there. So what we said is what's important in people's lives is this kind of context. So we call it contextual engagement. So what you do in Same Page is you build a page. It's super easy for anybody to do. And building a page means putting content onto the page. So you can put text and images and files and spreadsheets and links to maps and almost any kind of content that you can imagine. It's super easy to build a page as an individual, and then you share that page with the people who matter to you. We built it originally for businesses, so we thought about businesses sharing pages within the context of a business. But you share pages, and then you have on one side of the page is the content. On the other side is are the conversations. We say Same Page is about bringing your content and your conversations together onto a single beautiful page. So when you share that page with somebody, then you have your conversations. Those conversations are a bit like emails, but they live on the page, and they're closely connected. They're deeply integrated with the content on the other side of the page. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So.
And so what that does is it keeps all the things that you're working on together with the conversations that you have around them. So you don't have to remember where that email was or where that file was or who has the latest version of the file or the spreadsheet or where things are. Right now, most of our stuff lives in lots of different places around in different services on the internet, on our computers, on our hard disks, and so on.
So basically, it's like one page to rule them all. That's what you're saying, sort of.
it's a little bit like one page to rule them all. Now, of course, you can have many pages inside same page, and pages can live inside other pages. So the context that you build as you're working on something is defined by that hierarchy of pages. What's really cool, what we found was really neat about that, is you follow pages that matter to you, and then what happens when you switch over to your inbox, same page has this concept of an inbox. When you switch to your inbox, the pages that you follow show up as like the messages that you would have in an ordinary email inbox. But when you click on that message, what you get on the right side of your inbox is all the conversations that relate to not just that page, but all the pages below it. And so we say that that's how context gets created, shared, and then ultimately preserved as well, because you can always go back to that page and see how it developed over time.
I follow what you're saying, but maybe could you give us an example of how of a same page, how somebody would use it to get more done or more organizing, that type of thing? Could you give us an actual example?
Yeah, sure, happy to. So when we first started, we built this for ourselves, and so we saw, initially we used it in a business context. So it's for any kind of, you have a product launch, or you have a marketing campaign, or a webinar series, or put it in your context. You're organizing, your daily radio show. Each day you might have a page associated with that show, and the guests and the content and the questions that you want to ask. And then as you're working through that, you have the conversations either with your own staff or even with the people that you're collaborating with, as it were, to put those pages together. So you could have a page for each for each show that sort of kept that all together. And then as you need to do something, if you had a question or you were working on a future show and you weren't sure, you could search through, you could find the old page, and you understand the context of what's going on. But what we've also found is that, so we built it as a business tool, but then we found that individuals, clubs, teams, organizations were starting to use it to organize their own lives, and we started to realize this is like a generic problem. So I'll give you an example. We have we've built some pages as example pages for people to get some inspiration from, and they come from real life examples. One of them is we have a fraternity that has been organizing all of their fraternity events. Right. We took one of their real pages and we faked it so that we didn't expose any personal information, and it was them organizing their winter formal. And so that page had, a picture of the venue. It had a link to the Google map, and you saw the map on the page. It had all the different tasks that the different people working inside the fraternity had to do to get done to organize that. It had calendar events, links to different spreadsheets. So you can, inside same page, you can link to files in Dropbox or on Google Apps, Office 365, and so on. So they had links to all those different pieces of content, and it all lived on one page. And then as they were planning it, they had the discussions about it, what, the pricing, the different venues, who was saying what, and then they settled on a particular venue. So we kind of copied that and turned it into a sample page. We have another. Go ahead.
So it's all on the same page. I mean, this could be on your smartphone for it's sort of like it's all consolidated, but all the things that are on there are live. In other words, the part of the spreadsheet I can actually see it within the actual page itself.
That's exactly right, and we have native mobile apps for iOS and for Android. So yes, you can exactly take it with you. You have the mobile notification, so when somebody comments on a page that's relevant to you that you're following, you see the mobile notification. You don't have to go to email any longer for those kinds of things. It sort of blends the line between email and chat and IM, and you use it as it's appropriate.
And so basically, and you're sharing the same page with whomever you wish to, whoever you're collaborating with at the moment, be it friends or coworkers or family, whatever.
That's exactly right. So each page has, you can decide who gets to access each page. You can You can keep your pages private for yourself. Everybody who signs up for SamePage gets a free personal account. This is a freemium model, like you're familiar with Dropbox, say.
Sure.
You can have pages just for yourself, just to organize the things that matter to you in your life. I used a page the other day to keep track of all the dumb documents I had to do to file my taxes. So I have a page for my tax. I just did taxes yesterday. It's a great holiday weekend. You can make it. You can make a page that you just share with a small group of people, just your friends, or you can make a page public if you'd like to, and you can choose to engage or not engage in conversations on that page. So we had a guy I was looking at our different public pages not too long ago. We had a guy trying to sell his VW Bug. He had created a public page, put pictures of it up there, and all the information about about the bug, and I guess he shared it on his social networks. It's also very easy to share pages through your social networks. So you just click on buttons, and then you can post a link to that page through Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, so on. So it's very, very flexible. Go ahead.
We're describing it, but I guess the best way to understand this, you really need to see it in action.
Well, I got a pretty good grasp on it, and I assume one of the best one of the things that your users are finding, because it sounds like the best thing, to me at least, is how easy it is to create a page. It's not just that these pages are very unique to each individual, that they're so comprehensive, and like they may be all those things, but it sounds like you can whip up a page that everyone's going to use and be able to consolidate your information and then collaborate on the information very, very quickly.
Exactly. One of the lessons that we learned about email, there's all this research that shows that everybody has this email overload problem, and yet we all complain about it. But when we actually try to use all these different tools, we always end up falling back into using email. And as we were thinking deeply about how to solve that problem, we realized that one of the reasons email is so successful is it's just so easy to use. It's just, you just open up not a page, but a message, and you put a message in and you type in somebody's email address, and the message gets there. You don't have to know anything about the world or the internet, and so that's why people use it. So when we set out to build SamePage, we tried to do the exact same thing. We tried to make it easy for consumers. You've probably on your shows talked about the consumerization of the enterprise, of technology, why the iPhone did, beat the BlackBerry, is because it's just, people nowadays want, even in their business tools, they want business tools that are really, really easy to use. So that was one of the things that we set out to do, is make it really easy to create a page and then share it.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds a little bit like SamePage might be similar to something called Slack. Are there any similarities, or are you? Why don't you the differences between SamePage and what's available, like with something like Slack?
Yeah, there are some similarities. Slack is a pretty cool hot startup right now. They've raised a lot of money at a very high valuation. Slack takes a more, I don't necessarily want to speak to exactly who they are, but the approach that we see right now from them is that they've kind of taken the chat room approach to collaboration. So inside their app, and they have mobile apps and so on, you kind of make these chat rooms. It's kind of a modern web-based or SaaS-based incarnation of instant messaging, say.
Okay, all right.
So you think that you guys really have the hand up on collaborating with documents, dates, calendars, integration with those kind of documents, things that when you need to share something and not just chat, or you can still chat, but not just chat.
That's exactly right.
So
chat's great, but it never took over for email. And as we looked at all the different reasons why, I think the reason is it's partly the ease of use, but it's mostly that issue of context and contextual engagement.
Well, yeah. And chat is also very one-dimensional. I mean, you're having basically a conversation. You can't. I mean, you can put some images, but you can't really take the different spreadsheets and different Google Map files or PDF or Office files and kind of integrate with what you on that same page. I mean.
No, you can inside Slack. To their credit, you can put links to lots of different things inside an individual chat message. Yeah, but where it falls apart. But then where it falls apart is then which chat message do you go back to? How do you find the link? How do you find the context? There's no. You don't have an organizing principle, and that's the problem with chat. It's meant for these ephemeral kinds of conversations, which is nice. You want that. But it doesn't create an organizing principle that helps you keep track of what's going on. We say context is something that our tools force humans to keep. Our tools force us to keep context in our heads. We're forced to remember all this stuff. Yeah. And our lives are, it's cliche, right? But our lives are getting much more complex. I know mine is. I have, I run a startup, and I have a wife and 3 kids, and I can't remember all this stuff. Without SamePage, I think my wife probably would have left me a couple of years ago. Because I forget everything. I'm really terrible.
You can say, a SamePage saved my marriage. Exactly.
that should be our new marketing tagline.
Yeah.
SamePage saved my marriage.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll run that by our marketing folks. I suspect they're going to be really angry at me tomorrow.
And you should run it by your wife too, I would think. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're saying that SamePage is free? Am I understanding that correctly?
It's a freemium model.
Freemium,
so it's free for everybody. Everybody gets their own personal account.
Okay.
This was one of the things that we learned. That's you at the beginning were saying, this is an enterprise company, and when we realized that everybody wanted to use this thing, we did a lot of changes in the product over the last year to make it so that everybody can use it easily. So everybody gets a free account. You have a certain amount of storage. You can put a bunch of files and stuff in there. There is a paid version for super power users, but really then where we expect to make money in the future is to sell to businesses. So that is the freemium part of it, is that businesses will want more advanced features, controls and auditing and all that kind of stuff.
So that's how SamePage is going to get funded then. It's really not from the consumer, everyday person using it. It's going to be from the enterprise users of SamePage. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Okay. Yep, that's exactly right.
Now you mentioned contextual engagement. You've used it a couple of times. Can you kind of explain what you mean by contextual engagement?
Well, it's this idea of context is something that we've been developing for a long time now. We tried figuring out how to position this. Lots of people say that that they make collaboration easier and they do different things. And what we realized is what was missing in all of the tools was this idea of context, where the tool should preserve and create that sense of context, so you as a user don't have to remember everything. And unfortunately, most of the tools that you see out there still leave you in that situation. So we call it contextual engagement. When you work inside SamePage, that context is, as a user, you're creating it in the way that you lay out your pages and organize the content, and then how you follow those pages. It's on the other side, the magic, as you said, you kind of have to see it, but the other side is that inbox. When you follow pages at certain levels, it rolls up all the comments underneath. You see what matters to you, the conversations, and then it's really easy from the conversations as you get that in your mobile app. You go through the mobile app in the morning and you see like a conversation thread, as it were. It relates to a page and its subpages. You click on that and then you jump right over to the page and you see what people have been working on. That's what I mean by context. It keeps it all together on the same page, but then you bounce back and forth from the conversations to the content in a very natural way.
So you don't get lost, is what you're saying.
You don't get lost.
Because everything is
and you don't have to remember everything about where everything is. You don't have to search for it. It's right there. The things that matter to you are the things that you follow, or the things that you're working on. And when it stops mattering, you stop seeing it in your inbox, in your SamePage inbox.
Yeah. So let me ask, how big do you think?
It's super neat. I mean, in a business context,
Yeah.
like when I go to work in the morning, I'm able to triage my same page inbox literally in just a few minutes. Now, there's a lot of stuff that I ignore, but I can see what's happening across my entire organization. We have about 170 employees all over the world, and I go through that very quickly. When I go to my email inbox, now email is still super useful for lots of things, but it takes so much longer for me to get through that.
Well, it doesn't necessarily replace email, but it's certainly it
doesn't replace email. Email is absolutely ubiquitous. It's the thing that glues. I don't know. It's about 2.5 billion people have more than 4 billion email accounts. It's the glue that ties the internet together. It's an absolutely amazing, wonderful thing that you can send a message to pretty much anybody on the planet and not have to worry how it gets there. Email is fabulous for lots of things, but for working together, it's really not that great.
Yeah. Again, it's like chat. It's one-dimensional. I send something to you, so you send something back to me. I may send it to you and maybe carbon a couple other people, but then I'm going to get back. So it's basically back and forth.
It's a little faster than traditional snail mail, but you still wouldn't want to organize something over snail mail or email. It's better just to get someone either on the phone or using a product like this. Just hey, let's get this worked out, and you're off and going.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, the temptation is to pick up the phone and make a call, but even sometimes that's not possible. So you have this, you have something that's available. How big do you believe this contextual engagement market opportunity is, Scott?
Well, when you look at the different research reports, right, you have guys like IDC and Gartner and so on. Those guys put numbers out there for the enterprise social collaboration market. They put numbers out like in the $4 to $8 billion range. But when you think that this also encompasses, people moving from email, you've got unified communications, you've got video and other kinds of messaging, I think the number is well in excess of 10 times that. When you really start to look at how big the opportunity for collaboration is, and when you see what the public and private markets are investing in, they're clearly valuing this idea of it's not just contextual engagement. That's our fancy term for collaboration. We think it adds an element that other people are missing. But the broader market is this market for collaboration, both enterprise and personal, and it really is just huge. It's the thing that humans need to do most is work together with each other, and so you see that in Slack's latest round of funding, which is at a very high valuation. You saw Yammer get sold to Microsoft a couple of years ago. You saw Box's Box came out with their IPO not too long ago.
Yeah, what does that mean for the what does that mean for the collaboration market? That when the Box's IPO.
Well, the Box IPO. What's really interesting about that is it's really the first time that the public markets are showing a big appetite for taking risks on new companies trying to disrupt the collaboration market. Before, what you saw was lots of private deals. You saw Slack raising money. There's lots of venture rounds. A lot of companies that are competitive to us are raising big rounds, and you've seen these private exits. You've seen Yammer acquired or WhatsApp get acquired, and so on. So this is what's interesting about Box is that it's the public markets that are now saying, yeah, we get it. We think there's a huge market opportunity here.
Yeah, exactly. What else do you think we can expect from the collaboration market in 2015?
Oh, the next couple of years in collaboration are going to be really exciting. I think you're going to see Dropbox come out with their IPO. They haven't filed yet, but I think the market expects that. I think you're going to see a lot of failures, a lot of companies that aren't going to gain traction. There's going to be lots of M&A deals. There'll be lots of consolidation, and lots of new investments in other, in newer companies trying different approaches, like SamePage is trying in the markets, and some kind of convergence around this idea of context. I think you'll see more people talking about that as being the key problem, and so folks coming from the different directions, like the file sync and share, the Dropboxes, trying to figure out how to build collaboration into their tools, or the task-oriented folks like Asana or Basecamp, trying to figure out how to get more collaborative. And then even on the consumer side, I think you're going to see things coming in from like Facebook or LinkedIn as well. So there's going to be this convergence in the next few years. I don't know if it's just going to be 2015, but certainly over the next few years, I think you'll see a lot of that and a lot of new investments.
Well, I suggest that people give it a try, at samepage.io, or just go to our computeramerica.com, go to our show notes page. We have a link to the Kerio website, which also has a link to the Same Page website. You can try this out for yourself. It's obviously it's free. Initially, give it a try and see if this is something that may be right for you. If you're looking for a different kind of, you have a problem and email isn't doing it for you. This may be something for you to look into and check it out. Scott, I want to thank you for being here with us on the show tonight. And certainly,
hey,
yeah,
no, my pleasure. Can I add just one more thing?
Sure.
We're not an advertising based company. So if anybody does try it, we value privacy and your data security a lot. So we're not going to be selling your information. I think that's important. That's not the kind of business that we are. So thank you very much, guys, for having me on tonight. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, and again, it was a pleasant surprise because I thought we were going to talk about IT stuff, but obviously, Same Page. Again, definitely. Yeah, consumer oriented. Thank you so much for being with us, Scott, tonight. Okay.
Thanks, Craig. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it. Have a great night.
All right. Bye-bye. All right.
Good night. Bye.
All right, so there you go. Again, Same Page. Check it out at the Kerio website, or go to computeramerica.com. Kerio is Kerio, but we have it at our show notes page at computeramerica.com. This might find this to be of value for you. All right, when we come back, we're going to continue doing our computer and technology news, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And also, we have another brand new, spanking new, News Tisples review of Marty Winston. Yeah, I got and he's going to be talking about the Cherry DW3000. That's all coming up in Hour 2 of Computer America. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number. 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Oh, yeah, I'm here. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Cherry DW3000 wireless desktop. Cherry is a generations-old high-quality brand for switches and microswitches, and from time to time, like now, for end-user PC keyboards. Their new DW3000 wireless desktop set has a stubby USB dongle as its wireless link, a very nimble 3-button laser mouse, and a full-size keyboard with so sensuous a feel that your fingertips may feel betrayed if you ever leave it. Alkaline cells in the keyboard and the mouse provide power. The mouse has an on-off switch to husband runtime. The keyboard has no such switch, which leads our inner engineer to believe that beneath the keycaps, discrete actual switches demand power from a spec underneath, we assume 3 milliamps, only as they're struck, rather than constantly scanning as in many other wireless keyboards. This is a luxury keyboard line, both in terms of pricing and in terms of performance and ride. Bottom line, the Cherry DW3000 wireless desktop keyboard, switch, and dongle combo will make your fingers strut. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 33 minutes past the hour. That was Marty Winston with another News Tip Bulletin Review. He seems to be holding his own, so we're not worried about Hello and the dwindling supply of them and variations of them. Thank you, by the way, for Kerio and New Matter to both be on the show tonight. They were actually very interesting, as most of our guests are. Don't get us wrong, but in this last half hour, since the guesses in the past, we have a little bit of time to kill. There's a lot going on in the news, so we can kind of wrap this up with a couple of interesting news stories.
Yeah, and I know you did one in the first hour, so I guess it's my turn to do one in this hour. And
how about it?
Yeah, exactly. This from Maximum PC, Paul Lilly. A security researcher warns of vulnerability affecting several Netgear routers. And the vulnerability traces back to Netgear's Genie application. Evidently, this vulnerability could give an attacker unauthenticated access both locally and remotely. The vulnerability relates to a service that communicates with Netgear's Genie software, an accompanying program that provides a desktop or mobile dashboard so you can easily manage and monitor your router's settings and activity. The researcher who discovered the vulnerability says that the embedded SOAP service appears at first glance to be filtered, but is easily manipulated. Okay. He says an HTTP request with a blank form and a SOAP action header is sufficient to execute certain requests and query information from the device. Okay. Since the SOAP services is implemented by the built-in HPPT/CGI Damien, it's possible for unauthenticated queries to be answered over the web, though only if remote management is enabled. So it's okay then. If so, a well-placed HTTP query is all that's required to interrogate and hijack an effective router. Okay. Basically the bug exists in a number of Netgear's routers, but knowing Netgear, they certainly can probably fix this. It's just a firmware problem, and I guess they can fix it. So I assume that that's what will happen as soon as they find out about it, or they probably already know about it.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, that's a good thing about vulnerabilities, though, is that the more publicity they get, the more incentive a company has to actually go and fix them in a hurry.
Well,
so
I know Netgear. I mean, all of their routers are upgradable via firmware software. You can download them.
They call them security holes, not because they put them in there, but because they're holes. They forgot to fill them in. They forgot to, or maybe they didn't catch it or something like that. It's not like they intentionally left you vulnerable to this kind of thing. They'll fix it as soon as they can.
Yep.
And Netgear still makes great products. It's just these things happen sometimes.
Yep. Well, it's nice that somebody found it, and now they'll fix it. It's as simple as that.
Yep. All right. So another story kind of firing up my ire is this one. AT&T's gigabit internet service arrives in Google Fiber's original city.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So need further proof that AT&T's gigapower internet service is meant chiefly as a response to Google Fiber? you're looking at it. AT&T has launched its gigabit fiber option on in the Kansas City area, both in Kansas State and Missouri. The original Google Fiber City. The monthly rate is the same as in other gigapower regions. A Google like $70 if you don't mind targeted ads, $99 if you do. But AT&T is counting on availability as its ace in the hole. It's using established networks and regulatory advantages to roll out in places that its competitor can't easily reach. You can get gigapower in Leawood, for example, while Google isn't allowed to hang its fiber cables on local poles. So while AT&T doesn't shadow its rival all the time, it's clear that the telecom giant wants to avoid conceding ground. This story has me all shades of mad.
Okay, tell me why.
First off, if you use AT&T, they said that you can either get it for $70 a month. If you don't mind your search terms being tracked, the websites you go to being tracked, what you're doing online being tracked, everything you're doing is tracked, cataloged, and sent to AT&T as kind of a they call it like an assistance program. They say it's to help them serve you better ads and help them, kind of read what the average consumer out there is doing. But really, it's just logging everything you do on the internet and sending it and cataloging it. And for anyone who values privacy in any sort, this is obviously the biggest breach in privacy one can do. Or if you don't want your privacy completely ripped asunder, you can pay them $100 a month. Yes, a $30 increase just because you don't want to be essentially keylogged.
And there's no assurance that you won't be anyway.
There's no assurance you won't be anyway, but why give them express consent to do it out in the open, to track every little website you go to?
Yeah. I know, I wonder.
Rather not do that. So yes, that's the first one. $30 just so you're not tracked. That's awful. That is not a way to run a business, let alone an internet business. Second, they're using their competitive advantage that they're incumbent. Like that's their big tagline. Is we haven't allowed Google to spread anywhere because we didn't want them anywhere else. Like they were able to get into Kansas, but we're not going to let them into, let's say, like in this article from Engadget, we're not going to let them in Leawood. But AT&T, because they've been there before and they have deals and stuff already written out, they're able to provide their customers in there with gigabit service, even though Google was completely for and would probably do it if they were allowed to.
Yeah.
But they were not allowed, yet AT&T swoops in and says, don't worry, we got it.
Yeah.
None of this is sounding sour to you, Craig?
Yeah, no, it is sounding sour. I mean, Google hasn't even considered some of the cities that AT&T is offering access to. So, let's face it, AT&T is a telecom giant, and Google is not. Google is. They're making inroads, but certainly AT&T's got an enormous advantage, head start over Google.
It's not even that Google wants to become an ISP. If you asked pretty much anyone at Google and you said, so Google, are you planning on becoming the next big ISP out there? They want to say, no, we don't. We just want to provide people and prove that the technology is capable of providing large areas with 1 gigabit per second download and 1 gigabit per second upload speeds. We don't want to have to do this, but all of your other ISPs are failing you and they aren't doing it for you. So we're coming in and we're picking city by city, and they're going for major markets here. They aren't just going for little towns in the middle of nowhere. They're going for major cities and saying, look, we can do this. Why can't your ISPs who have billions of dollars, who are being paid billions of dollars a year to do this, why can't they do this for you? Why does Google have to come in and do this? And then when Google does come in and do it, guess who follows suit and shortly thereafter offers gigabit speeds?
Yeah.
Every other ISP. in that area. They could have done it, but they chose not to until Google became a viable option.
You know, but that's the American way. You know, competition.
No, that is awful. That is not the American way. The fact that there are so few ISPs that they can actually impede competition, that they can actually slow down innovation just so that they can make more money, just so that they can charge you, let's say you pay $50 a month for 20 megabits a second download, and then next month they come out with $70 a month, but you get 100 megabits. $20 for 5 times the internet? Amazing. They could easily be offering you 1 gig for, $80, but no, they want those price increases to be moderate along with the speed increases. Even though they're perfectly capable of doing it, they won't do it because of money. Google comes in, does it. They're not even an ISP, and yet they roll out this new technology that is apparently so alien and so abstract that they can't do it. They come in, do it for an entire city, and do it for an extremely low $70 a month, and then everyone scrambles around, follows suit, and says, "Oh yeah, well we have that too." Why do you have to wait for someone who's not even in your market to come in and show you how to do your job?
So what's the answer, Ben?
ISPs need to get through their head. People want faster internet.
Yeah.
They're not giving it to people. It's increasing at a sluggish rate. They're paying an all-time premium. I know right now we're paying, like, when I was paying in North Carolina, I'm paying like 4 times for internet what I was in South Carolina as I am in Florida, and I'm getting like half the speed. It is crazy that in certain markets, just because there is a lack of competition, or there is one carrier, or there are maybe 2 carriers, the cost versus the speed goes up dramatically from company to company to district, because there is no competition. That's not, if you're going to tell me that's how America works, that is the American dream, is to bleed every person for every dollar, for every megabit per second. That is not a good way to have, at this point, what is a utility. That's not a good way to run a utility.
No. I mean, I agree with you. I just know what we as consumers can do about it.
Well, Title II is a good start.
Yeah, that's true.
Title II starting to regulate it like a utility. Try to get some more competition in there. Say that, oh, you can't have a complete monopoly. Things like that. Make sure that they have proper access and proper speeds and mandates and stuff like that. We've tried the whole free market approach, and we've come up with, oh, you're paying more than any other developed country in the world, and you're paying for a slower speed than almost any other developed country in the world.
You are.
And congratulations. Yay, America.
Yeah.
So status quo obviously isn't working.
No.
So let's try something different.
Okay. Well, I'm on your side when it comes to that.
How is this not just infuriating you right now?
It is infuriating.
This is awful.
It is awful.
Whatever. People in Kansas City, congratulations. You now have 2 different ISPs that provide you gigabit per second service.
Well, sort of, except, but $70 if you don't mind targeted ads, $99 if you do. Okay. Remember, we talked about the BlackBerry, the Passport. It's that, square-shaped smartphone. Well, evidently the BlackBerry Passport and Classic are coming to AT&T. Let's see, what's today? 4 more days, on February the 20th. BlackBerry fans on AT&T, your long wait for a new phone is almost over. The carrier has announced that both the Passport and Classic will reach its stores on the 20th of February. And as promised, AT&T's ever so slightly customized but still oddly shaped Passport will cost you $200 on contract, $22 a month on Next 24, or $658 up front. If you'd like something a tad less squarish, the Classic will cost you $50 on a contract, $14 a month on Next 24, or $420 outright. These BlackBerries certainly aren't the cheapest devices in AT&T's roster, but they're also the network's only modern phones with hardware keyboards. That's right, they're not virtual, they're hardware keyboards. If you still aren't a fan on typing on glass, then these are your best bets. There they are. So they're coming. The Passport and the Classic. Again, it's a giant leap backwards, I guess. I mean, because I remember when
BlackBerry has some cool devices. It may not have caught on with every average person like the iPhone did, but in terms of like they're so targeted toward business, towards being useful in a business scenario.
Mhm.
There's a market for it. It's just BlackBerry wasn't exactly plugged toward that effect. Like even their screen resolution size is perfectly suited to open up a Word document. No other phone out there is capable of doing that. It's just they weren't marketed right, and they're suffering for it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, anyway, they're not going anywhere so far. I mean, AT&T, they come to AT&T, and you can check them both out on the 20th of February, if this might intrigue you. Okay, what else do we got?
Oh, what other one is making me mad today? How about this one? Okay, this one also makes me mad. This is good. Apparently, this came out today. This is making the circuit as we speak. The NSA. Yes, our lovely, lovely friends over the NSA who are recording every phone call, every cell phone call, every form of digital communication you can think of. Yes, those NSA, apparently, they have worked their way into firmware, and the NSA hides surveillance software in hard drives.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, yeah, that's not exactly the expression I was looking for you from Craig. I was looking more for a what?
No, I mean,
How could they?
I know the NSA is monitoring every phone call and every conversation, and there's pretty much nothing you can do about it at this point. And I have to go with the mantra: if you got nothing to hide, you have nothing to worry about at this point. So I mean,
that's such a bad mantra.
Yeah, but the point is, if you're talking about what to get from the grocery store, then whatever you.
Again, it's a bad mantra. We had a whole DIY segment on why you'd want to be safe and why you'd want to be private.
Yes, I know, but the point is, it comes with a cost, and evidently, we live in a day and age where the privacy is pretty much out the window. Really, it is.
And there are lots of people and there are lots of organizations working to revert that.
Yeah, but
it's on its way.
I think once the genie is out of the bottle, you can't put it back. I think.
What a pessimistic view. Pessimist America.
Yeah, but it's the way it's going to be.
Shame on you.
The NSA is going to be monitoring. They're not worried.
Yes, Jonathan is right. When I said the NSA hides surveillance software in hard drives, you should have played that screaming guy you have on your soundboard.
What screaming guy?
Yeah, exactly. That's the reaction I was looking for, not the okay.
Because I've come.
Wait. Before we get back to Craig and his whole what can you do? Let's read the article and then we'll discuss it. So it's been known for a while that the NSA will intercept and bug equipment to spy on its soon-to-be owners, but the intelligence agency, woof, that was hard. Techniques are apparently more clever than first thought. Security researchers at Kaspersky Lab have discovered apparently state-created spyware buried in the firmware of hard drives from big names like Seagate, Toshiba, and Western Digital. When present, the codes let snoops collect data and map networks that would otherwise be inaccessible. All they need to retrieve the info is for an unwitting user to insert infected storage, such as a CD or USB drive, into an internet-connected PC. The malware also isn't sitting in regular storage, so you can't easily get rid of it or even detect it. Sure, it's in some kind of hidden partition.
Yeah.
Kaspersky isn't explicitly naming the culprits, but it also isn't shy about pointing a finger in the U.S. government's direction. The company notes that the developers have access to unpatched exploits before they showed up in American cyber warfare viruses like Stuxnet, and in some cases directly borrowed code modules. Also, most of the infections have occurred in countries that are frequently U.S. spying targets, such as China, Iran, Pakistan, and Russia. Reuters sources back this up, with claims that the NSA has developed espionage techniques on this level. So the NSA isn't commenting on the findings. However, they don't bode well for the U.S. attempt to preserve the eroding trust of other countries. I don't blame them. If the U.S. can plant surveillance tools in hard disks, why would you buy a hard drive or an entire computer from an American source to safeguard your big secrets? You probably won't have to worry about these bug drives at home, but they're likely to be major concerns abroad.
Okay. You know, again, we live in a day and age that this is just going to go on. I don't think there's any way to put it back in the genie back in the bottle. I think it is what it is, and if you got nothing to hide, then you don't have anything to worry about. And you know, there's a lot to be said what the NSA does to maintain our security. I mean, there's a lot of terrorist activity going on that gets thwarted through efforts of the NSA.
Bull crap. I don't know if I can say it on the air. Bull crap.
Yeah, you can.
Fine.
You don't think
No. Look, first of all, Jonathan Schreiman also, yet again, correct. Why is Craig, I have nothing to hide, so I don't have to worry about privacy. Why are you plugging a VPN again?
The VPN, because if you, you don't, I don't know. Yes, I promote a VPN because supposedly it's if you don't want.
It's a legitimate product for people who not that they need to hide things, but that they have other means to do it. Just because you have something and you have the means to do it doesn't mean that you're doing anything bad. Just because you want privacy doesn't mean you're doing anything atrocious, awful, or that needs to be caught.
But
why is it that people expect privacy? You're like, why?
I don't think the NSA is pointing its efforts to you and me. I think it's they don't have that in mind. They're pointing to much larger government conspiracies and terrorist activities, and that's their main thing. Not the fact that you might be going to a porn website or wherever it might be you want to keep secret. I don't think they're worried about. I don't think you have anything to be concerned about. I think the NSA.
Before we get into any kind of politics, there have been cases that we have talked about on this show where, okay, yeah, sure, it's supposed to be about, okay, well, we'll catch a terrorist here, we'll catch a terrorist there, we're keeping our enemies in check, that kind of thing. And yet we find spyware. We have NSA agents who are looking up past girlfriends and finding covert information. We have agencies that are finding information on people that could not be, on their own citizens, that could not have been found without loopholes such as this. They're using it for every purpose, not just the ones outlined by, hey, keeping America safe. They're using it for every purpose they can possibly get their hands on. That's not okay.
I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that for the most part, that the NSA is primarily concerned with governments and terrorist activity, and they're not really concerned.
And yet they're violating every single American's right to privacy at the same time.
You know,
by the way, you are more than likely to be hit by a car than to be killed in some sort of terrorist attack.
You know, you can't have your cake and your icing in the cake too. You're gonna can't
throw the cake away. I want my privacy. Take your cake.
Yeah.
Forget
but
the cake. The cake comes with too much loaded into it.
No, you can't. Yeah, the
cake has malware. Get rid of the cake. The cake is a lie.
I think the cake is necessary. I think that there's a certain amount of information that is monitored by the NSA for terrorist activities, and I think that it's necessary. And I don't think they're checking on you and me and all the local activities. I
don't think they're actively checking on you. But I think if they ever needed any phone call, Craig, that phone call back in 2009, August 23rd at about 8 p.m., if they needed that phone call, they could go back and get it, 100% guaranteed. They could get that phone call. It's not that they're actively tracking what you do. It's that they can go back and they have a catalog of everything that you've done.
Well, I guess it makes me feel safer to know that they can do that.
Oh.
Okay. I'm pro person of interest. I mean, I think this is the time we live in, and I think that it's a necessary evil. Given given the politics of today, I think that our government needs to do whatever they can.
And I'm on the opposite side.
Yep, I know. Well,
there's a point where you are more afraid of your government than you are of any person that can come to attack you. And when your government knows everything about you and everything you're doing and everything you've done, you become very afraid. Then, yeah, really, who are you more afraid of at that point?
Well, it's a good point to leave off on, and maybe we'll
submit your comments to live@computeramerica.com, Facebook, what have you. Just please, someone out there, tell me Craig is not right.
Okay. Okay. Coming up on tomorrow night's show, who do we got? It's Tuesday, and we're gonna have in the first hour a company called Sentry, and I'm not sure what Sentry does yet. And then in the second hour, we're going to have a company called Rialto, and it's about big data, and we're going to be talking about big data and what Rialto does and how they work with big data and directions and the directions they're taking. So
90 seconds.
Let's see. Coming up later in the week, of course, we're going to have Intel on the show, and then Thursday is going to be our All Linux show with Marcel Gagne. Looking forward to that. And on Friday, we're going to have Yamaha on the program, and we're going to specifically talk about their music division. And this is always an interesting show. They do some real cutting-edge stuff on the program. So it's going to be an interesting week.
60 seconds.
And hopefully you will stay with us. Again, thanks to New Matter, talking about their Mod T 3D printer, and also to Scott Schreiman from Kerio Software, talking about the same page. That about wraps it up. Thank you all so much for listening. And Ben and I will see you tomorrow night, same time.
And a quote.
And a what?
Same time, same place. And a quote. Those who sacrifice liberty for security deserve neither.
Okay. Did you come up with that one?
Benjamin Franklin, not Benjamin Crossman.
So we'll see you tomorrow night. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Benjamin Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy.
10 seconds.
We'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody. Thanks again for being with us here tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
We need Charles Sandell on the show.
Yeah, I guess we do.
We're booking him. We're getting him on the show.
We'll get him on. All right, watch. Bye, everybody.
Bye.